have an emergency.
Today on Rescue 911. High above the earth. A thrill-seeking jump gone bad.
Her body hit the bottom of the plane, making a tremendous noise.
Forces a pilot to make a life-threatening decision.
On water, we had a chance.
Then,
it was like a scream that I've never heard.
a power saw goes out of control on Rescue 911.
Our troubled world is fractured by cultures and divided by borders. But when tragedy strikes, courage and love know no boundaries. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, in a special international episode of Rescue 911, true stories of heroes who remind us that despite our differences, people the world over share a passionate commitment to preserving life. We begin in Normandy, France, late on the afternoon of August 3rd, 1976, as members of a local skydiving club gathered at the Cannes Carpiquet Airport. That day, 3 parachutists, including Nicole Guédon, were planning to do a tandem jump known as a star, which they had performed many times before. Lucien Levallois was director of the local skydiving center.
Je connaissais très bien Nicole parce que...
I knew Nicole very well because I had seen her on her arrival at the school. She had never seen a parachute in her life, so I had the pleasure to teach her everything you had to do on the first jump. At this time, she had to have done close to 1,000 jumps.
Claude Tréchamp was the pilot that day.
At the time, there was a great deal of spirit in the club. Everybody would know one another, and it was an atmosphere where everybody would trust one another.
We were flying the last flight of the day. Nicole was making her 3rd jump of this type that day. There was nothing special about it. This jump, on the contrary, was a relaxed jump with friends.
Claude dropped 2 solo jumpers first, before climbing to 6,500 feet to drop Nicole's group.
When exiting the plane, they wanted to save time, so they bunched together as closely as possible. Miss Guédon was sitting in the doorway from where she would jump first, and the 2 others held onto her shoulders from behind.
Contre Québec, c'est bon pour nous, il est Brest, tout marquage. Bien sûr.
Ready, set, go!
When we continued,
The more the minutes passed, the more uncomfortable Nicole's situation became. We didn't know whether she was conscious or not, and in need of care that we couldn't give her.
Three parachutists making a tandem jump near a small airport in Normandy, France, had leapt from the plane at 6,500 feet as Lucien Levallois, director of the skydiving center, looked on.
I had a pair of binoculars which enabled me to follow the jumps. My first surprise was to see only 2 parachutists leaving the plane.
Regarde, il y en a que 2? Il y en a que 2? Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça?
It wasn't too hard to know who was there. The color of her jumpsuit allowed me immediately to identify Nicole.
She was held prisoner by a hook that's next to the door, which was normally used to pull parachutes open automatically for the beginning students. I couldn't pull on her very strongly in this manner, because even though a plane can fly very well by itself, as soon as she was swinging from side to side, the plane would swerve, and I was obliged to get hold of the control stick. I thought that by swinging the plane, I could have enabled her to jump off from her spot.
Lorsque le parachutiste...
When the skydiver landed, his first worry was to quickly come and warn us, to tell us, watch out, I may have hurt Nicole while passing her, and she may not be able to open her parachute.
Her body hit the bottom of the plane, making a tremendous noise, and so I had to ask myself if I was running the risk of hurting her.
Hey, Claude, Québec, là, j'ai quelque chose d'accroché, j'en ai un là-dessous.
I saw her gestures, and then her eyes, which were saying, no, I can't do it anymore, let me fall.
Down below, Lucien was trying to figure out if the pilot could simply cut the strap and let Nicole parachute to the ground.
It was difficult for us to know what would happen next, because we didn't know what part of the harness he had to cut. It could cause Nicole to slip through it. And above all, we didn't have enough information about the ability Nicole still had at that time to open the parachute.
The control tower told me to land on the grass runway. I yelled negative because her head, as far as I could tell, was lower than the wheel. So if I had bounced a little bit, the poor woman would have crushed her skull. I was thinking about the water, since there's the canal that runs by Caen and then goes to the sea. On water, we had a chance.
A drop-off in the canal appeared to be very dangerous, given the narrowness of the canal. And since the sea was 7.5 miles away from the skydiving center, by plane it could be very quickly reached.
Me? I said, fine, it's the same thing, since water is the same everywhere. But in addition, at sea there were rescuers, as well as frogmen who would be able to recover her.
The Louis Trion police were notified to send rescue boats to a designated drop-off point. Nicole had now been hanging upside down in near-freezing temperatures for more than 30 minutes.
I had to really ask myself whether she was in good shape or not. In the beginning, she was touching the inside when it was her complete hand. After that, it was only her fingertips. And then after that, nothing was touching.
Claude spotted a helicopter and radioed for assistance. The Department of Public Safety arranged to provide the chopper and 2 scuba divers to help with Nicole's rescue.
I wanted to try to cut the strap to see if it would cut easily. I was really afraid. I was over the land and rather high up. I had never thought that a strap like that could have been cut so easily.
The more the minutes passed, the more uncomfortable Nicole's situation became. We didn't know whether she was conscious or not, and in need of care that we couldn't give her.
By 8 in the evening, everyone had arrived at the drop-off point.
I was not high, that's all I can say. The divers told me 24 feet.
We knew that the pilot was safe. Already that was a good thing. But we didn't know at all how Nicole was, and we had to wait for minutes, which were very, very long.
The divers told us the story that they came with their big knife and everything to try to cut the parachute. She started to yell, saying, no, no, don't cut it, it's not worth it, because the parachute is very expensive.
All of a sudden, they told us everything had gone well. Obviously, it was a great relief for us. Of course.
Everybody did what they had to do. And then there was also a little bit of luck, probably. For me.
It was champagne for everyone, in the good French tradition.
Miraculously, Nicole Guédon suffered only minor bruises in the incident.
It was tiring for me, but the more time went by, the more I was thinking that something was going to happen. What we couldn't do up in the air, both of us, other people were taking care of it, and I trusted them.
It's entirely possible that someone less poised than Nicole under the plane would have pulled on the handle that opens one of the two parachutes, which obviously would have been catastrophic.
Within 2 weeks, Nicole was skydiving again. 17 years later, she has completed more than 3,000 jumps and is an instructor at the Skydiving Center.
They certainly listened to her, because, understandably, this incident is still talked about today. It was a difficult time, but since everything turned out okay, it's actually a good memory to have saved someone. It's not bad, you know.
Next.
His eyes were starting to roll back in his head. I knew that if I lost it, that there would be no one there to help him.
How much did you cut, Doug?
As one of the owners of a shop that made custom decks and gazebos in Rancho Cordova, California, Lori Berardoni was well aware that the work could be dangerous. But on the morning of September 10th, 1991, she was reminded that when tragedy strikes, we can be called upon to do things we never imagined we could do. "20-year-old Doug Reams was the only other person at the shop that morning.
I went back to say hello to Doug and see how he was doing. He told me that he had a terrible weekend. His dog got hit by a car, and when he went out to help the dog bit him. And so he was looking forward to getting the work week started. I went back to work. It was like a scream that I've never heard anywhere in my life. And I knew that he'd cut his hand off, even though I wasn't in the same room with him.
Come on.
Fire dispatch, what is it?
Someone cut off their hands.
Calm down, what's the address?
3339. Take off your shorts.
Calm down, listen to me.
She was a little out of control. At times you have to go through and really, basically get in there and just tell them, look, you got to listen to me. We're trying to help the person, and we need you to be calm so you can help them.
What I want you to do is wrap a towel around
I don't have anything. I don't have anything.
Any paper towels or anything of that nature?
No, toilet paper.
That won't work.
A call was taken by Sacramento Regional Communications Dispatcher, Vic Boithier.
We needed to get some direct pressure on that bleeding.
Even a T-shirt or something of that nature?
Yes, yes.
Okay. How bad
is the hand? Is it off?
I don't know.
Okay. Take it and wrap it up.
Doug, don't move.
I said, Doug, we've got to get off your shirt. So we took Doug's shirt off and wrapped it around the wound.
What do you want me to do?
What I need you to do is I want him to...
I think he's going into shock.
Okay, then we want him to lay down.
Come on, Doug, I want you to lay down.
Okay.
Come on, let's lay down on the ground.
I was afraid maybe I'd pass out. I don't deal with the sight of blood well at all, usually.
I gotta stop the blood. I gotta stop the blood.
He had probably cut through the artery because of the way the blood was coming out.
Wrap it up. Don't put a tourniquet on it.
It's got a shirt on it.
Okay, wrap
You don't want to tourniquet things. That's your last resort if you have to use it.
Pressure. Okay.
Okay, now I want you to do is I want you to lay him flat like he is.
Okay.
I want you to elevate his legs about 18 inches
Put your
or
legs
so.
on the bench. Legs on the bench, Doug.
There you go. It's okay.
Okay.
You're doing good work.
All right. Come on, he keeps saying he's gonna die.
No, he's not. We're
Come
not
on,
gonna...
Doc, it's
You
okay.
tell him we're not going to let him do that.
We're not gonna let you. No, you're not. It's not bleeding.
His eyes were starting to roll back in his head. And I'd say, come on, Doug, come on. And his eyes would come back. And I knew that if I lost it, that there would be no one there to help him.
What do you do, cut it on a saw?
Yeah.
Okay. Does he know how much he cut?
How much did you cut, Doug? About all the way through.
Okay. The hand has not been basically amputated, right?
It's through the bone.
Okay, it's through the bone, so it's hanging basically by the skin.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just think about everybody that's on their way here, and they're going to take care of you. They got a whole crew coming.
Atta girl.
So I want
Good
you to
work.
just hang on. Come on. No, you're not going to die. We're not going to let that happen.
Good girl, Lori.
It's okay. It's going to be okay.
Sacramento County Fire Rescue Units were the first on the scene.
Okay, they're here. Should I leave them here?
No. I want you to stay on the line with me until they get here.
Can I go out front and flank? Yes. They're here.
Okay.
He says it's through the bone. It's through the bone. He's concerned he's lost too much blood.
Take care of you. We're going to take care of you.
Okay.
When I heard John's voice, then I knew she was in good hands.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Good luck to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Looking at the scene, the amount of blood that was on the floor and on the walls, I had estimated approximately 15% of his blood volume right there that he had lost. With arterial bleeding that within minutes a person could die from loss of blood. We virtually constructed a splint from the lower part of his arm all the way up to his fingertips with gauze pads and cling. Doug was very pale. He's telling us he doesn't want to lose his hand. He's telling us that he doesn't want to die.
Doug was taken by life flight to the trauma unit of the University of California Davis Medical Center. His father, Russ, was there waiting for him.
Before they took Doug into surgery, he looked at me and said, "Well, guess I'm going to lose my hand." I said, No, you're not going to lose your hand. Everything's going to be all right. Don't worry about it. And the whole time I was thinking, yes, you are going to lose your hand.
Chief orthopedic surgeon and hand specialist David Steinberg performed the operation.
If this had happened 20 or 30 years ago, I think his chances of having a functional hand would have been greatly decreased. Technology has become advanced enough that we expect a fair degree of success from those operations.
In the 10 months since his hand was reattached, Doug has regained partial use of it. Although no one is certain how complete his recovery will be, he's grateful to be alive.
I was really scared. I kind of thought I'm bleed to death. Good thing Lori was there. Really appreciate what she did. Couldn't have made it without her.
I don't think I did anything extraordinary. I think I did what I was told. And I called 911, and that's the great thing. Once you get a hold of them, they'll tell you what to do.
To me, that's all the gratitude I ever needed. Just as long as I know things are worked out and the help was there for them, that's what my job's all about, helping people.
You can't be too careful when you're working around equipment like that. No matter how much of a habit you've gotten into doing this same thing every day, it's still dangerous. You know, you really got to pay attention to what you're doing and take your time.
From the very first day, I was teasing him about what a lousy way to get out of working for a living, to try to cut your hand off. But the teasing is all a cover-up, so I don't have to really think what I'm really feeling. And what I'm really feeling is I could have lost my son.
Everybody involved. Really thank everybody.
Mr. Shapiro, step out of the car, please.